I guess my question was more about, you know, on each individual element, what's proportionate, because we don't know. I mean, anyone other than the IDF don't know what the targets were at that point, who was at risk. I might go to my colleague next, though, Sarah Tomevska from SBS.
The toughest part of this is being exposed to endless suffering, where people are too easily killed, blamed and smeared, as my new friend Nasser Mashni said yesterday while he was in front of an execution squad. You did very well, Nasser. And this is the Australian people you proudly say you belong to, applauding you. And you are...
Queen! Oh, she did not! Oh, she just called out the whole room. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, that's so savage. Oh, I respect it so much.
Correcting this requires a rehumanization of the discourse itself. And I'm so happy to speak to journalists because you have a great deal of homework to do in this respect. And in...
Oh my God, she roasted them again. She's like, and you have a lot of research to do in this respect regarding their coverage, which has been incredibly biased and Islamophobic and just so bad.
A lot to unpack there. I'll just ask one more before I go to my colleagues. When you say neutralise, when this attack is carried out and you've got Hamas leadership saying they want to do October 7 again and again, is it truly neutralising it if once they go across the border, Israel says, OK, well, the immediate threat has subsided?
Do you know what's definitely not neutralising the situation? Bombing a people under the guise of getting rid of Hamas, killing like thousands of people and thinking that that's going to what? Make them like you? Make them leave their homes that they can't even leave because they have nowhere to go?
The reality on the ground is that there is a risk of genocide being committed by Israel and also the capacity to do that.
When you say they have, I mean, if they wanted to, it would probably be done, to be blunt about it. Yes, it's a dire situation for civilians, but Israel did say, civilians, please leave. This is where we're targeting.
There was nowhere for them to go. Oh my God, I hope she roasts him.
As my friend Daniel Levy told the BBC journalist...
Oh my God, the entire room laughing at him though. That's funny.
And I beg your pardon, I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but can you really keep a straight face as you ask me this question? I will answer.
If you're asking civilians...
I will answer the question. I will answer the question. Okay. There is nowhere to go.
How embarrassing to be him. Wow, Sky News really gonna how embarrassing.
Hamas leaders since October 7 have said repeatedly that they would like to repeat these attacks. Is that really possible? Is Hamas really a potential partner for peace, or would the defeat or surrender of Hamas be part of any realistic peace?
I don't think Hamas or Netanyahu are realistic partners for peace. I'll be interested to see what she says.
Agreement in Gaza.
I'm sorry, I cannot answer the question because you are basing yourself on something that has been reported, that it has been completely distorted. Sorry, I mean, you have some media who's really as manipulative as those in Italy. And I thought that
no. She is not holding back. Oh my God. This woman. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, this is the dream. This is when you know your shit. Chat, this is when you know your shit and you are confident and you are educated and you are informed.
As someone concerned for the plight of Palestinians, do you apportion some blame towards Hamas for...
Her eyes when this man asks a question, you can literally just, wow.
Using areas to militarise civilian areas?
Say it again? Sorry.
Well, if they're basing, say, military targets near hospitals or schools or civilian areas, do you blame Hamas for that as well?
Yeah, he did the thing. Chat, he did the thing. He did it. He did the thing. He did the thing. He did the thing. He did the thing.
Blame is not a legal language, so I don't blame anyone. I blame my children when they do something wrong. Other than that,
Do you apportion? Well,
I condemn.
Okay.
I condemn.
I know you have to be terminally online to realize why that's funny. I know you have to. If you are watching a cut of this on YouTube, I know you have to be terminally online to realize why that's just outrageous.
It's difficult in the fog of war, and I suppose the other thing that you alluded to earlier was proportionality, which feels impossible to judge sometimes because we don't know what the alleged target was and how many civilians might have been nearby in many circumstances. So is it also difficult to report on in that sense? Is it difficult for you to even know what the truth is when you've seen what's unfolded and if something was
Oh my God, he's trying to undermine her expertise.
proportionate?
Yeah, this is why there are humanitarian people on the ground who can help you verify the facts. And then perhaps this is a good opportunity to trust the lawyers to give the legal analysis. I mean, not me, but you have brilliant lawyers in this country. So, I mean, you don't have to do all the analysis yourself, but there are legal experts who can tell you whether, from an international point of view, bombing churches, mosques, entire residential buildings, without a clear military objective. Voila. This is the other thing, that the objective of this campaign has been very opaque from the beginning. There was no real military target, because the target was eradicating Hamas. Yes, but what does it mean, eradicating Hamas? Because Hamas, like it or not, is a political reality. And what does it mean, eradicating it? What is happening is eradicating Hamas means, as meant, in 37 days, killing 11,000 people and burying under the rubble 3,000 more. So, I mean, no, this is not proportional, I can tell you.
I guess my question was more about, on each individual element, what's proportionate, because we don't know. I mean, anyone other than the IDF don't know what the targets were at that point, who was at risk. I might go to my colleague next, though, Sarah Tomevska from SBS.
Oh my God, this feels so wrong to laugh at. Oh, this feels so, oh my God. Oh God. How does he sit there? How does he sit there? I would be this big. I would be this big. I would, oh my God.
Out of curiosity, to understand what is the capacity and the content of military experts from Australia to the warring parties. I mean, this could be understood as
complicity.
I mean, being responsible for what's happening. I mean, many have called for an arms embargo, as it happens under these circumstances when serious violations of international law and crimes are being committed. So this is something on which you, journalists, may want to insist.
I couldn't help but being tripped up by the very ending of your speech, where you said that ending Jewish-Israeli domination would be rehumanising acts for them as well. I just want to ask whether that sort of comment is helpful in the current climate, talking about ending Jewish-Israeli domination.
I mean, that's just the reality. The Palestinians aren't occupying Israel.
I wonder whether it's helpful to pretend that apartheid doesn't exist, because this is what we are talking about.
The phrase jumped out at me at the end of your speech, and I'm just wondering if the trope of domination
No, it's not a trope, it's really real. So it seems not to understand what I'm saying. There is an apartheid regime. No, No, I'm serious. There is an apartheid regime. It's domination. This is not a trope. This is international law. I encourage you to read the Apartheid Convention.
He was trying to get her to comment on something that is outside the scope of her job as a lawyer for the UN. I do not think she was going to even slightly acknowledge the idea that there are people online who are so anti-Semitic that they she was just not going to engage him. I sort of half understand the question, but I can respect why she didn't engage at all.
And on the question of whether you've sought a meeting with the federal government, the Prime Minister or the Foreign...
Yeah, of course. And we have sought meetings with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We will meet someone else because I understand she's very busy.
Thank you.
For me, this has been the most disappointed I've been in Penny Wong. Penny Wong is our current Australian Foreign Minister. She's an incredibly based politician. She takes no shit. She has really worked on improving our relations with China to the point where Anthony Albanese had a meeting recently. I think she's an incredibly intelligent woman, and this is the most disappointed I've been. And I think to a certain extent, and this does not absolve the Australian government of responsibility, but I think to a certain extent, Australian foreign policy on this particular issue is very much tied to American foreign policy. It doesn't make it any less disappointing. She hasn't been silent. But she piped up in support of Israel's right to defend itself immediately. And honestly, our government has really lacked on this issue. One of the saddest realities of living in Australia is that we are incredibly racist and to an extent Islamophobic. I don't respect it at all, but like politically, they're in an incredibly difficult position.
Given how many humanitarian sort of crises have been going on at that time, including Russia and Ukraine? In terms of that Israel bias?
Sorry, Tom, can you...
15 resolutions were passed by the UN General Assembly criticising Israel specifically. 13 criticised countries around the world, so 6 against Russia. So that Israel bias, does that seem disproportionate, so many against Israel?
I'm not good in math. But when did the occupation of Ukraine, portions of Ukraine started?
Well before 2022.
Yeah, I think 2016. So how many resolutions have been passed since 2016? You said 15 resolutions on Russia?
Well, the point is 13.
I know
any
what's
country.
your point.
Yeah,
Look at the maths.
Well, I said 6 for Russia, but 13 of any country around the world versus 15 against Israel.
You mentioned Russia. Well, there are not many countries in the world which have these situations.
My question is around that being proportionate.
No, but it's not any country. Here we are not talking. My mandate is not to talk about the violations that Israel commits against its own citizens. I'm responsible to look at the violations that Israel commits against a population which it maintains under belligerent occupation. There are not many situations like this in the world. So I challenge you on that.
Also, how long has this situation been going on in Israel-Palestine? The way he tried to frame that is so fucking dodgy. God, what a weasel. You know, I wasn't going to call him a fucking weasel because I was like, that's so offensive to weasels. But like, I just... Oh my God!
And look at the resolutions that the Security Council has passed on the occupied Palestinian territory. Probably 70 have been tabled, half of them have been vetoed by the Security Council. So this is something we should be talking about.
Oh my, spicy. That's right, the US veto power of the Security Council. Shall we just go have a little squeeze at how Sky News reported this? I can't help myself, chat. Incredibly smug James Morrow on Francesca Albanese's press club address.
Well, look, I thought the performance at the press club, the bits I saw from it, were incredibly smug. I wasn't in the room there today. I was in Sydney. However, I would also be really curious to know who there was applauding her when she gave that really smug answer and challenging her with alternative facts, or as I would call it, reality.
Oh my God! Oh my God.
Gaza, the nature that Gaza has not been occupied for more than 15 years, and so on and so forth.
Oh my fucking God! But the West Bank is occupied! Oh my God, these people. Oh my God. Oh, I don't know how to tell you this, but I am gonna let the madness take me. Because sometimes I watch this shit and I'm like, this can't be real. And it is. Like, it's real.
You linked Israel with potential genocide, which is a highly inflammatory allegation.
Oh, Jesus fuck. By the way, chat, I'm sitting here in shock because I read a lot of news, but I tend to avoid this shit because it is so incredibly triggering. And sometimes I see it and I am reminded that this is the news that so many people in Australia are consuming, and then a lot of things start to make sense.
It's just a big term. Genocide is a big term, but we got to move on. Is Hamas guilty of war crimes?
Journalism, chat. Journalism.
Of course, there is no question about that. Hamas has committed war crimes the moment it killed civilians, it targeted civilians, and it took civilian hostages. These are undisputable war crimes.
Yes. So, I mean, there is a saying, you know, you get punched in the nose, you're not going to give a free lunch. So does Hamas get what's coming?
I don't know what to say, chat. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know. This is where I don't know. This is, I'm not sure what to tell you.
Pictures that have emerged from Gaza over the past couple of days, military installations underneath children's hospitals. Should that be the case? Should they be allowed to have that there?
The thing is that
what is that question?
to allow
Gaza's not
the
occupied,
expansion
though.
of colonies.
Gaza's not occupied. It's ceded
Gaza is
control.
very-
Did it not cede control
No.
in 2005?
No,
Oh my God, he is.
no. What was eliminated what was taken away in 2005 was the presence of the colonies. But Gaza has remained very much occupied, and not
Well,
only
it's
because
ruled
there
by
is
Hamas.
control of land, air. Can I finish? There is not just the control of air, land, electromagnetic space, and sea space, but there is also a very tight control of what enters and.
I mean, Israel was literally able to turn off the fucking water, and you're gonna be like, it's not occupied. They're actually just free and living like under full, like they've got full liberties and human rights, but we can turn off their water at any time. Oh my God. It's so interesting because the way this is presented is just like the average Australian is not going to know the fucking difference between Gaza and the West Bank. They are not going to know the geography of what that fucking looks like. They're literally just going to be like, oh, okay, like Gaza, West Bank, it's all in the one area. And it's like, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just relying on,
No, Gaza is still occupied, and there is a wall-to-wall consensus in international community, including ICRC, which is normally quite restrained. I mean, everyone has concluded that Gaza is still occupied through modern methods of warfare, even if it doesn't have boots on the ground. There is effective control.
That woman has so much restraint that I do not have. I am impressed because, oh my God. It's not that I'm acting shocked that the mainstream media is what it is, but every time it's like being re-gaslit